Yo, yo. All right, I just dropped a new link. Everything looks good now. Y'all go hop in there. All right, what's up with y'all, man? Today, instead of doing wealth building class, I wanted to talk about a topic that has been coming up a lot lately, at least for me. We're going to talk about spirit God communication and awakening our spiritual abilities. There's a lot of activations going on right now in the collective, and a lot of people have been coming to me, especially people who are newer to spirituality. We've been doing this shit for millions of years, but some people are reawakening, right? And one of the main questions they ask me is, oh, how can I astral project? How can I do clear audience and talk to spirits? How can I get clairvoyance? And my quick answer is always that you already have those things. You already are that. But there's a process that you can take, many different processes you can take to awaken those things and get closer to your spirit, right? Getting closer to your spirit is going to be the thing that actually opens up all of these different abilities to you. So that's what I want to talk about today. We're finna wait for a few more people to join in, and then we're gonna get started for real. Yo, sorry I had trouble getting the live to work. That shit was a pain. But it's always at least one technical difficulty. I say that every week. Every week we do something. I tell y'all, it's always gonna be one technical difficulty for whatever reason. I don't make the rules, but that's the way it goes. Life path numbers. I know a lot about that. We can talk about that too. That's one of my favorite things to talk about. Numerology, astrology, Chinese astrology. I talk about all of those things. I do readings as well. But yeah, what did you want to know about life path numbers? What you want to know? Before we get started with the main topic, we can answer a few questions and wait for people to come in here. Master numbers. I know very much about master numbers. My mother's a master number. My brother's a master number. I have master number energy as well, but I am not a master number for life path. And the early conflicts of master number 22. Yeah, so master 22, that's the master builder. So that person needs to have a strong foundation in their life. Most 22s don't know their life path 22, so they never set the proper foundation. So their earlier years can be full of trials and tribulations of building, starting over, building, starting over. But luckily, I don't know how old you are, but you're at a point where you should know about the master builder. If you're aware of numerology, I would expect that you are a master builder if you're a master number 22, and that you should be taking practical and pragmatic steps towards building good structures in your life that cannot be knocked down. Um, oh, you're 17, bro. That's so perfect. Like, if I mean, I did know all of this stuff at 17 actually, but I didn't really know exactly how to apply it yet. It took me a few years. But if you're 17 right now, that's so fire. If you're 22, I would say for master number 22 at 17, I love getting advice to young people. Um, for the rest of your 20s, from now until you're about 28, build, grind, don't settle for less at all. Like, there's gonna be a lot of times things are gonna come to you like talking sweet in your ear, like, hey, we can maybe do this, or I see us this way, or I see it this way. Don't let anybody control your vision. In your 20s, you need to grind. Don't, you know, don't be overly indulgent in relationships, whether it's with friends, women, or men, whatever you're into. Focus on yourself in your 20s. That's going to be your superpower. And it's hard. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? I'm 22 right now. This is my master builder year. I've been building a lot. And a big theme in this year for me has been not settling for less and taking my journey seriously. That's super important. I am 22. I love to play basketball. That's cool. Are you like going to college for it? Thank you. I'm always grateful to hear from older and mature. That's what's up. That's what it's all about, bro. Learning from people who have done this shit before you. Like when I was 17, bro, I was I had all of the spiritual knowledge that I do now. I just didn't know how to put it into actual steps towards success. Nor did I know what success actually looked like for me. So, I was at a lot of disadvantages. Bro, I don't know what's up with my camera. Like it's not going full screen for some reason. That's so odd. Yeah, I'm a junior high school right now. So you want to play basketball in college? That's actually a strong master number. Most NBA players are either master number 11s, 22s, a lot of them are 5s, a lot of them are 1s. Those are all good numbers. I struggle with being versatile. How do you struggle with being versatile? What do you mean? Literally just try new things, try everything. That's how you become versatile. I'm the opposite. I'm a jack of all trades, so I do every single thing. Um if I'm not if I'm not if I'm not super knowledgeable in one field, I guarantee you that I'm proficient enough to do it in a professional space. I may not be the best in the professional space at it, but I learn things deep enough so that I can do it as a profession. That's my approach to life. I'm not a master of all, but I'm a jack of all trades. And I have mastered a few things on my journey so far. So, 22 said I struggle with being um I have different opinions and I love to explore everything to where I can't focus on one thing for real. That's not bad. That doesn't mean you struggle with being versatile. That means that you want to be versatile, but you struggle with focus. You need to have discipline. Master number 22, discipline is your number. The big discipline numbers are going to be 1, 5, 7, 9's a little bit, 8's a little bit too, but mostly is going to be 1s, 5s, 7s, and 22s. Those are the numbers where you need to be disciplined, right? For different reasons. Master number one needs to be disciplined to execute their goals. Master number five needs to be disciplined so that they don't self-destruct. They can be very self-destructive if they don't discipline themselves. Life path 7 is needs to be disciplined because, well, I want to say life path 7 needs to be disciplined. Life path 7 is naturally disciplined. We're naturally disciplined because we look at things from a spiritual and mental perspective, and we see things how they break down into finer parts. So when you're able to perceive things as just data points, you're able to orchestrate your life in a manner where everything is kind of constructive in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like everything has to have a step and an order to it. That's the discipline, doing things in steps. um and then, like I said, 22 needs to be disciplined because if you're not, life is going to force you to become disciplined. For the other numbers, it's not like life is going to force you to become disciplined. Maybe if you're a 7 and you have a hard karmic lesson to learn, but 22's life is actually going to force you to. So if you're not disciplined early on, you're going to have some, like I said, you're going to be building things, then it's going to fall down. You're going to be building shit again, and it's going to collapse because you just did not lay that foundation. And, you know, eventually you're going to get it. But you're 17 right now. You have all the time in the world. You don't even need to be, exploring all of these rises and falls and rises and falls. You can have a few maybe because that's just normal in life, especially at your age. But I would say by the time you're 22, you should be able to get it together. You should already know the game plan for the rest of your 20s. It takes the action if life path 4. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying about life path 22 is what do they call it? I don't want to say a spawn of 4, but when you add 2 and 2, you get 4, right? Um that 4 energy is super meticulous. It's like if you could put 4 into an astrology sign, it will be Virgo, because Virgo is super meticulous, very disciplined, pragmatic, and sees things analytically, right? That's life path 4. A part of that, seeing things linearly, is discipline, doing things in steps, like I said, of order of operations to everything. You should be running your life like a business, bro. I'm not gonna lie, you should be running your life like a business for sure. What else, bro? Who else has? But get into today's topic. We can get into today's topic. You're Gemini. I think that's why I figured out. That's a strong placement. Gemini, master number 22. Geminis naturally like to have their hands in a lot of different buckets. I'm a Gemini moon, so my emotions can be that way. I'll put my emotions in many different things that I don't need to, you know what I'm saying? But if you're a sun sign Gemini, that just means you like to express yourself in many different ways. You don't need to pick one, to be honest. That's not going to help you picking one thing, but focus and doing things in the steps is going to help you a lot. Like maybe for 2 months, you lock in on this skill. For the next 2 months, you lock in on another skill. And for the next 2 months, you lock in on another skill. If you do that same 6 months process, 6 months process, if you do that twice a year, you'll learn 6 new things every year and become proficient at it. That's what I did when I was your age. And I did it like unconsciously. I would just practice music for a few years. Then I would practice maybe my spirituality and mediumship for a few years. And then I would practice video design and like, different computer art shit. I'm very multifaceted, right? I started doing film photography around like, how was I, 21? Like I built my skills over the years. And that's why you're at a really good spot. You're at a spot where you can build long term. 17, you have your whole 20s ahead of you. Your 20s need to be spent, I don't want to say grinding, but you need to be locked in for sure. Grinding is honestly, it depends who you are. If you're 22, it may be necessary, but grinding is not necessary for everybody. All you need to do is be consistent. That's the thing that you need. Consistency is non-negotiable. You got a question? What else, bro? I'm grateful for your generation. Thank you. I'm grateful for you as well. Cam is fine. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying to get it full screen. It's not big on the screen. I don't know why that is, but we'll see. We'll see. Thank y'all for showing up too. Thank y'all for showing up. And make sure y'all like, the live so that it can get recommended to more people. Everybody got to like. Everybody. What's your question, bro? If not, we can get straight into today's topic. Said, am I checking Discord too, GM? You said, am I checking Discord, GM? Not really. I'm not gonna lie. I'm only on the Discord so that people can click the link. Click the link, bro. Just come into the live stream. But I'll stay unmuted just in case. I'll stay unmuted. Do you think it's possible to do music at extremely high level and also maintain NBA legacy? Um, okay, you got high goals. You want to do both legacies? Well, look, you got I might be butchering this a little bit, but I'm pretty sure you got Master P. Wasn't Master P a rapper and a basketball player? And then you got who else? You got Lonzo Ball, or no, not Lonzo Ball. One of them ball dudes. They play basketball at a high level and they rap. You got um who? What's his name, bro? Um, man, what's his name? I forgot his name, but he used to play on I don't even remember what team he used to play for. I forgot what team, but he spits all like a lot of NBA players can rap. I think it's definitely possible. I think it's 100% possible, but you got to do it in a proper fashion. Like I would right now, if you're trying to go to the NBA, I would prioritize basketball because that's kind of time sensitive. Um, and then I would get into music once you're already in the NBA, if that's what you want to do. If that's what you want to do, homie, for sure. All right, let's get into today's topic. Um, I want to talk about awakening spiritual abilities, right? That's super, super important. There's a lot of activations going on right now in the collective, and a lot of people are coming to me asking about, astral projection, asking about clairsenses, asking about all of these different spiritual tools that we can use to connect with our spirit and, expand ourselves beyond this physical body, beyond the physical matrix, right? That's super prevalent right now. And that's something that I want to start coming on here and talking a lot more about. I talk about it on my YouTube channel. Follow me if y'all haven't followed, subscribe. But I want to do it on lives more because lives is more interactive, I want to actually get on here and help people who are activating and awakening right now. So if y'all have any gifts that you want to develop, please leave them in the comments, ask a question. I'll give you some game on how to develop those things. But overall, I just want to talk about all the different abilities that I'm aware of, and well, not all of them. I'll talk about the main ones, and then I'll talk about the pros and cons of each one. Right? Nobody really talks about that, but there are pros and cons. You think you had a spiritual awakening? If you think you did, you probably did. I'm not gonna lie. Um, and that's fire. You know what I'm saying? Explain your experience in the comments. Maybe I could give you some insight. But like I said, I want to talk about the pros and cons of each spiritual ability, and nobody really talks about that. Nobody really talks about the dark side of it and how it can be draining. It can be, hard to deal with. It can be stressing mentally, right? That was something that I dealt with. I used to think I was crazy. I used to think that I was going psycho or something, schizophrenic. And it's not true. It's only as true as you make it. Um, Modern society labels people like me sick. They think that, people who are into the woo-woo aspects of life are too far gone. And that's not a mentality that we can adopt as spiritual practitioners and spiritual seekers. We cannot let that mentality corrupt our own spiritual truth, right? I experienced isolation and the people changing and treat me different, that's a fact. And that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? That's good, a good sign that you're either going through an awakening or had a spiritual awakening already. To be honest though, from where you're at, I would say that you probably, I don't think you've had a spiritual awakening before. I think you're going through a spiritual awakening right now. From what I know and from what I can sense in your energy, um, you're going through a spiritual awakening right now. It's not over. It's not something that happened already. And that's good. Those are the most pivotal moments, right? We're all always continuously going through spiritual awakenings, but there are specific seasons where every decision that we make is really pivotal to our future. And 17 is a very, very important year. If y'all are aware, um, in what is it in numerology? Is it numerology or Chinese astrology? 9 plus 9. That's numerology. In numerology, your 17th year of life is usually your enemy year, right? It can be Chinese astrology as well. Personal year. What about your personal year? But yeah, in Chinese astrology, 17 is usually your enemy year. I don't even want to say usually, it's always your enemy year. So if you're 17 right now, when were you born? Let me see. 2026 minus 17. 2009. I bet. What's your birthday? Matter of fact, we can do a live reading real quick. What's your birthday? Hold on, I'm in a live. I'm live. What's up? Um, June 5th. Yeah, bro. You could. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. From what I could tell, you might be able to go to the NBA. I'm not gonna lie. Usually I tell people to be a little bit more practical, which is that's not universal advice. Don't even take that advice if I ever do give it to you. Because really, I'm trying you. I'm testing you to see if you would actually stoop down to something that's more practical. And that's not a bad thing. I'm very practical myself. But, you know, I'm not going to tell you to be practical, though, because your numbers are they're pretty larger than life, from what I could tell. June 5th, that 5 is your day number. That 5 is your day number. So 5 is all about, it kind of has to deal with karma, like the life of path 8, but it's more of a outward expression, like it's a projection, right? So life path 5 is like to travel the world and do things that attract a certain type of energy to them, right? Similar to a life path 8, but 8 is more so with monetary and I want to say wealth. Life path 5 is like experience. So you like to do things that give you certain experiences. That an experience, a specific experience or feeling may be the single motivator towards everything that you do, to be honest. Your persona, it can be that as well. But the life path 5 is it's one of them ones where you can be traveling the world, or my bad, not life path. Well, life path 5 as well, but day number 5, right? Your personal number or day number 5, that's going to be a number that attracts you to travel and attracts you to new experiences, right? That could be why you like to do many different things and put yourself in new experiences that are going to attract a certain type of lifestyle to you or a certain type of feeling of new or novelty, a certain feeling of experiencing life right now. Not a lot of people struggle to be in that feeling. They struggle to even get into that feeling or state of being. And it's super important to get into a state where you're in the flow. You always feel like you're present now and you love what you're doing right now. Um, Life path 5s are very good at getting to that feeling without doing too much. But life path 5s, you also have to watch out for vices and things like that. So be very careful. 5s have to be disciplined. Um, Challenging phase of life right now. What is so challenging? You're 17, bro. Do meditate and stay grounded. That's good. That's good. All right. We're gonna get back to the spiritual abilities real quick, and then I'm gonna check the chat in a second. But family stuff, yeah, that's the only thing it could be. That's the only thing I could think of. It was like that for me too, but I was blessed, more blessed than I realized at the time. So just make sure you're being grateful. But like I was saying, I want to talk about the spiritual abilities today. So first, I want to talk about clairvoyance, right? Clairvoyance is an ability that you can get through naturally, it can just awaken for you, or you can try to awaken it through meditation or through different spiritual practices that bring you to a state of stillness and a open and clear your mind, right? This is chakra thing. So you're channeling information from your crown chakra into your third eye, birth for confirmation, and it's giving you an image in your mind or into your mental plane, right? That's what clairvoyance is. Seeing imagery spiritually, seeing information as an image spiritually. Basically, that's clairvoyance. I unlocked clairvoyance probably like when I was 18. I started meditating a lot, and it naturally just woke up. I started getting a lot of visions. But I want to talk about the dark sides of clairvoyance because this whole stream we're going to talk about the goods and the bads, just so you guys know what you're getting into. Because a lot of y'all are being initiated right now, whether you really like it or not, whether you know it or not. There's a higher plan for your life, and it is super intertwined with the collective consciousness and how we are evolving as a species on Earth. You know what I'm saying? Humanity is really evolving, and all of our individual awakenings contributes to the greater awakening that is taking place on this planet. So I want to prepare you guys to understand what you're really getting into. Like I said, clairvoyance, the dark sides of clairvoyance, if you're not able to close off your energy field, a lot of times you can start to channel self-destructive imagery, right? And when you do see a certain image or a certain symbolism, it can stick in your mind a lot. People who are clairvoyant are super sensitive to subliminal messaging and imagery, right? It was like that for me as a kid. Is my stream glitching again? Is my stream glitching, y'all? Anyway, um, yeah, like I was saying, people who are clairvoyant are super sensitive to subliminal messaging and imagery. Like for me, when I was a kid, even though I didn't fully awaken my clairvoyance until I was around 18, I was still pretty clairvoyant as a kid. I just didn't really understand or acknowledge it. But I know I was clairvoyant because symbols really, really stuck with me. A symbol that really stuck with me as a kid was the eye in the pyramid, right? I used to have like dreams about that shit. And like before I knew about the Illuminati or knew about any of those conspiracies around it, even just looking at money, like I have a dollar bill right here, the eye with the pyramid. Y'all might not be able to see that because my camera is out of focus, but you know, that was something that really stuck with me. Um, and I was sensitive to that type of imagery, right? Now, that's partly because of past life things like this pyramid with the eye. That's not some like exclusive imagery to Earth. That's kind of like all throughout the cosmos. This sign is very symbolic of spiritual awakening and the oneness of creation. You know what I'm saying? We are all one, and you are always being watched by reality itself. The all-seeing eye, the creator, is always watching you through you, right? So it's just a sign of unity and spiritual awakening, but it can be used for different things. I was very sensitive to that type of imagery as a child. Um, that's because, like I said, I was clairvoyant. Eventually, when I woke up my clairvoyant abilities, I learned how to close off my mind from certain subliminal messaging and imagery to the point where, I can I can keep my mind blank at all times if I so choose, right? That's another thing is learning control with your spiritual abilities. You want to be able to get to a state where you're not easily controlled or you're not easily manipulated, right? A big way that people manipulate people on earth is through imagery, right? At the very least, base level, we're all pretty clairvoyant. That's just our natural spiritual ability. And by showing certain signs to the masses, by showing certain imagery to people, the elites or any type of institution can control people, right? This is something that they do. and it'll probably always be done forever, but we can learn how to do it for good, right? Um, that's the negative aspect of clairvoyance, being sensitive to imagery, right? Next, I want to talk about clear. Let's talk about clear audience, right? This is one that I've dealt with a lot, and some of you guys may be waking up to your clairvoyant abilities right now. Do y'all know what clairvoyance is? Before I explain it, let me see the chat. Yes, kind of. All right. Clairvoyance, clear audience is when you can hear energy audibly. You can hear it through your ears, right? So you can hear spiritual information through the ear. I see 222 a lot. Yeah, I'm sure you're a master number 22. That's super in alignment with you. I see 222 a lot as well, but for different reasons, 222 has to do with balance. It can also deal with love and partnerships. So I see those things a lot as well. But clear audience is when, like I said, you're perceiving spiritual information audibly through your ears. This is to this day, this is my strongest ability. Unless I'm overlooking something else, um, I hear spirits, you know what I'm saying? And it started when I was like 18, 19. Um, Never in my life before like 2022 did I hear a being speak to me. It was other times I maybe saw an imagery or a vision, or maybe I got a clear feeling or a clear knowing. Those ones I've been indulging in since I was little without even realizing it. But having actual beings speak to you, mentally or through your throat chakra, because the throat chakra deals with receiving information and projecting information. Um, when beings communicate with you that way, it can be jarring. It can be very scary or startling, and a lot of people are not really equipped to deal with that without going crazy, right? But that's something that happened to me when I first woke up. My clear audience, I thought I was going crazy, right? That's the downside of clear audience. It can be paired with certain human conditions like schizophrenia. To be honest, I do. A lot of spiritual people and spiritual teachers don't believe in schizophrenia. Me personally, I do believe in schizophrenia, but I think that is different than what we experience as spiritual abilities or clear audience or even clairvoyance, seeing imagery, seeing beings, walking around you. That's just being sensitive to astral information or sensitive to frequencies, right? I've been super sensitive to frequencies since I was young as well. But schizophrenia is different. But that's the thing. That's the downside. They can get paired together like they're the same thing, and they're not. And that's because most people don't understand spirituality. They don't understand the deeper aspects of reality. Hold on, I'll be right back. Let me get this water. I was running out of breath. My throat was getting dry. All right, y'all. I don't know what's up with the screen, but we're gonna rock with it. Hold on, let me check the Discord. Let me check Cord. Vangelo Ball and Master P2. Yeah, he was talking about the rappers who are basketball players. Yeah. Back to what I was saying. Schizophrenia always gets paired with certain spiritual abilities like clairvoyance and clairaudience, and that's the downside. You have to learn how to perceive this information audibly without thinking that you're going crazy, right? At the beginning, clairaudience can start as something simple, like every time you see something specific, a certain song may play in your head, or maybe a certain event happens around you, or a certain person comes around, and you see that person and you associate them with a certain archetype, and this archetype will play out through a song in your mind, right? I love learning about the cosmos and spirituality. I feel happy inside. That's what's up, bro. I'm happy for that. I'm happy for you. Um, yeah, it's basically when physical information or even spiritual information triggers an audio signal in your mind. So, for me, it began through songs. I would see somebody and a certain song would play, and it's always super aligned with that person's energy. Like maybe a person who is super mean to me will come by, and in my mind, I'll hear Big Sean. I don't fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know that song, that's how it works at the most basic levels. Eventually, it graduated into me actually being able to hear and perceive beings talk to me. And I talk to my spirit guides a lot. Clear audience is the main way that I talk to my spirit guides. But I wanted to explain this to you guys because if you are awakening clear audience, I need you to understand that you are not going crazy and that there is a way to hone this ability. Like you can channel and master this skill. Um, and if y'all have any specific abilities that you're awakening, please leave them in the comments. I would love to give you guys some game or help you give you some insight onto how you can use these abilities to better your life, right? And to better other people's lives as well. Maybe you're being called to be a channeler or a healer, you know. But those were the downsides of clear audience for me. Manifestation, we're gonna talk about that too. I'm gonna come right back to that. A matter of fact, let's talk about it right now. Or prayer or communication. Yeah, those are like the most simplest spiritual abilities, and they're widely misunderstood because everybody has their own method. Everybody wants to act like they have the secret sauce when it comes to prayer and manifestation because everybody wants to act like they have it all figured out. And the truth is, 99.999% of people don't have it figured out. I don't even have it figured out. I'm teaching because God put me in a position with enough knowledge to be able to teach what I know. I don't teach because I have it all figured out, right? There are people who will try and act like they do have it all figured out, and those are not the people that you want to listen to. You want to listen to the people who have manifested real results in their life. Like I can show you the fruits of my labor and show you what I've manifested based off the work that I've put in and the spirits that I've aligned with, right? Even my spirit, when it comes to aligning with my higher self, that is how I manifest in life. And that is the main way that you should be trying to manifest. Most people can't manifest because they're not trying to get in alignment with their spirit. And that's the first step to manifestation. You can manifest cars, money, big houses and mansions, pool parties, and a bunch of, beautiful people around you. But all of that shit is going to be null and void if you do not align with your spirit first. Because most of the time, your spirit does not want those things. It's just your ego. And you have to really tap in beyond the physical gratification to get true manifestation power, right? So a lot of times when it comes to manifestation, we'll say we want this and we'll work super hard for it and we'll get it thinking that we manifested what we want or what we desire. But truth be told, our spirit allowed us to manifest that just so we can see that we don't want it. That actually happened to me recently. That happened to me just literally last month. I've been manifesting something for about 2 or 3 years. And this year I finally got it. Dead ass. After trial and error, mishap, triumph, success, whatever, through it all. For the last 3 years, I was trying to manifest this thing. He said, congratulations. And that's the punchline. Once I got it, I realized that I don't even want it because I was not aligned with the right things. I was not trying to manifest the right things. That's how it felt. It felt empty when I got it. That's not how you want to feel when you're manifesting, right? I'm on a different path now, and I'm able to manifest to something that actually is aligned with me. And that's all I want is something that's aligned. I don't want this big grandeur or anything. I don't want this idealized, romanticized version of anything. I just want what is aligned for me. And that's how you find true freedom in life, through accepting what is truly ours. But could not anyone just fabricate something and say that they manifested it and started making content out of it? Hope you make D1, man. Me too. I hope he makes D1. Technically, somebody could just pull up anything and be like, hey, I manifested this because it's true. At the very baseline of reality, it's easy to manifest. Like, boom, I just manifested me some water. I just manifested me on stream with you. But it's about these things relationship to our higher purpose or our end goal, right? This water is not that important to the end goal of my manifestation. There's a bunch more water out there that I could have. This water is just what I chose right now. And that has its own power in itself, but it's not that important in the grand scheme. A lot of people would try and tell you that they manifested this great thing, and it's just the bottle of water. It's not even that important. And it may look important because of societal norms. Maybe they manifested a Lamborghini, or maybe they manifested a mansion. But it's just the bottle of water. It's not even important to the grand scheme of their the feeling or the experience that they desire from attaining that thing. They're not manifest the feeling that they wanted to feel. They didn't manifest the actual substance that they were going to gain. They manifested a thing, right? um yeah, that is the very base of manifestation, and that is how people go wrong with manifestation. They prioritize the bottle of water, and really they should be trying to prioritize the ocean. How can you get the ocean? We're not trying to get the bottle of water around here. We're trying to get the ocean. um I'm sorry that the stream is glitching, y'all. That's really unfortunate, and I don't know how to fix it, but next time we're gonna get right. And yeah, back to the live. um that is where people go wrong with manifestation. Like I said, they're trying to manifest a bottle of water and make it seem like they just manifested this grandiose thing, but this shit is everywhere. This is everywhere. The whole water is made out of, I mean, the whole world is literally 75% water, right? And that's how people operate in this manifestation and spirituality space. They convince you that manifesting the bottle of water is the hardest thing in the world to do, and that they just somehow cracked the code because they manifested the bottle of water. And really, it wasn't that hard. You know what I'm saying? In reality, something that's hard to manifest is a continuous path of life that is uninterrupted by external circumstances. That's the hardest thing to do, because the hardest thing is not getting the bottle of water. The hardest thing is making sure that you have a continuous supply of bottles of water. You see me? It was so easy to get this one bottle of water. But manifesting a lifestyle where I can always have water, that's the hard part, right? The lifestyle, the actual substance, the grand scheme, the bigger picture. That's what's going to get you where you're trying to be at, not actually getting to the thing, right? I think I see what you're saying. Hopefully you do, because I want to make this clear. The biggest problem when it comes to manifestation is that people are trying to get things. People are not trying to manifest a state of being. They're not trying to manifest a reality, or they're trying to manifest a lifestyle. Most people want things. And you can have everything in the world and still be nothing. You could have everything in the world and not really be of any substance, and that's not where we want to be at. That's the downside of manifestation. um Prayer, you asked about prayer too. Prayer is kind of similar. People will pray for stupid shit, and you know they never get what they want. I feel like people who prioritize manifesting stupid shit get what they want more than people who pray for stupid shit. But a lot of times with prayer as well, people will pray for something and they'll get it and not acknowledge that they got it. They won't realize that they got it because uh they were too concerned on how it would look or how it would show up when it did come. A lot of times when you're trying to pray for something, that thing is already with you. You already have that thing a lot of the times. That's why when I pray, I never ask for things. I don't know the last time I asked for God for something. It was maybe like a few months ago, but it's like usually months in between me asking for something. I never ask for anything from God. The only thing I do when I pray is give thanks. I say, thank you, God. I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful that I have that. I'm thankful for this. If we can touch on advanced manifestations, yeah, we can get there for sure. But like I was saying, um, you know, I always thank God for the things that I want in advance, as if I already have it. That's how I get what I want, because I already have it. I acknowledge where in my life I have that thing, and then I divert all of my attention into there so I can manifest or I can multiply whatever it is that I have, right? So let's say I want $1 million. Cool. I won't ask God for $1 million. I'll ask God for some money. Well, I have money right here. Now, since I have money, my emotions are fulfilled. I know what it's like to have money. Now I can divert all of my attention and energy into getting more money. You see what I'm saying? And that's how we attract what we want into our life, by acknowledging what we already have. Now, we touched on manifestation, prayer. We touched on clairvoyance, clear audience. Let's talk about clairsentience. Let's talk about the ability to get clear knowing and clear understanding of certain things. This is one of the most um, this is one of the most underrated abilities. A lot of people associate it with intuition, and that's because they kind of go hand in hand, but they're not the same thing. Intuition is more of a grand scheme network of how reality is going, right? So it's like an understanding of reality as a whole, and you tapping into that so that you can act a certain way in a physical reality uh that is in alignment with the greater scheme of reality, right? But clairsentience is just an inner knowing, like it's just this a physical aspect, right? So clairsentience is almost like the product of intuition. Intuition is the greater field of possibility that manifests and that we can tap into to act a certain way. Clairsentience is the feeling that we get that makes us act a certain way, right? um yes, I try to stay grateful and show gratitude every day. That's what's up. You're already ahead of everybody that's your age. I promise. um yeah, the downside to clear sentience is, I don't want to say the downside to clear sentience. I want to talk about a thing that people experience when they do have clear sentience that holds them back, because clear sentience doesn't really have any downsides. It's honestly the best gift that we've had or that we've been given by the divine. The problem arises when people don't listen to that feeling. When you listen to that, or when you get that feeling and you go, oh, but that can't be true, it contradicts everything else that I previously known, or that can't be true, it hurts my feelings. That's when you fuck up with clear sentience, right? um that's the one that really keeps people in karmic cycles and cycles of self-destruction for longer than they need to be, because that whole time you're in that karmic cycle, your body is trying to tell you that you are not where you need to be, or not where your spirit wants you to be. What are your thoughts, understanding of clear tendency and smell, and any other one I've not heard you mention yet? I was getting there. Actually, we can talk about clear gustance. That's what it's called when you can clear taste things, right? I actually have a lot of funny experiences with those because um it never pops in how you think it will, when you think it will, and it's very nasty when it does pop in usually. Sometimes it won't be nasty, but here's what I mean. Clear gustance is the clear ability to spontaneously taste things, right? You can taste spiritual information. This is something that said, am I religious? No, I'm spiritual. I don't really like labels, but I do acknowledge religion. I used to be Christian growing up, and I acknowledge the truth in Christianity, but I'm not Christian myself. Um, but back to the topic, right? Clear gustance is a funny one because, and I just made a video about this on Instagram. If you want to go watch it, go to my page, link in bio. It's funny because there's nothing like walking past somebody and tasting how nasty their spirit is on accident too. Sometimes you're not even trying. You just walk past somebody and maybe you get a whiff, right? And their body smells good. They smell fine. But you get this spiritual sour smell, and it comes from their aura, it comes from their energy. That is nasty and it's uncalled for. A lot of times those smells are worse than physical smells. um it's honestly kind of, it's quite repulsive, right? A lot of people don't have clear gustance or clear, what's the other one, clear salience, when you can smell and where you can taste spiritual information. A lot of people don't have those like that, because if they did, they would probably kill themselves. Like, most people on earth don't have good energy. So imagine if you were just smelling everyone's bad energy all the time. You would feel like you're living in a sulfur pit, or feeling like you're at the circus scooping up dog shit all day. You know what I'm saying? It's like those smells, you could taste and smell it. It's nasty. Most people on earth don't really have good energy. Earth itself kind of has a weird smell right now. If you're in large societies, or if you live in a city, you'll taste and smell the city. It doesn't smell or taste good. I know someone who said that they smelled someone who smelled rotten or something like that. Yeah, it happens so much. I used to think that it was a physical smell, but I realized that nobody else around me could smell it. And I'm like, how could you not smell that? Me personally, physically, I'm pretty smell deaf. I'm what do they call it? Tone sense deaf? I don't know. Nose blind. That's what they call it. I'm pretty nose blind to physical sense. Um, and that's why I get super surprised when I do get that clear salience or that smell, that spiritual smell, because it comes in super strong. And that's how I'm able to distinguish the spiritual smell from the physical smell, because I'm not that sensitive to physical smells. Um, yeah, learning how to smell people's spirits out is actually a good tool though, because it'll help you know if you need to be around somebody or if you need to get away from them. That's probably the best way to figure out somebody's spirit is to smell them or to taste them. I would recommend smelling them. I don't really recommend tasting people, but you said plus one minus one. Yeah, it's like a give and take. Give and take. I'm telling you, we gotta sacrifice for these abilities. You don't just get the abilities. You have to deal with some uncomfortability, and that's okay. But like I was saying, right? I would I would try and develop the clear salience, this clear smelling. Um, it's a good one to have, but it can be quite repulsive at times. So be cautious, right? Those are the downsides of clear gustance and clear salience. Other than that, those are pretty great abilities. Like I said, when you're trying to see if you're aligned with somebody, simply. But next we can get into what are the other ones. I didn't go over clear cognizance yet. Clear cognizance is when you can feel spiritual information, right? So let's say there's a chaotic scenario around me, right? Or there's a chaotic scenario approaching. I'll feel it in my body as it happens or before it happens. This this woke up for me when I was 19. I I was I was going through a rough patch when I was 19. I was homeless and I had to really make my own way for a little bit. And I was frequently put into dangerous scenarios, put into situations where my life was truly at risk. Eventually, it got so bad that my feet felt like they were on fire, right? Now, when I went to the doctor, they said nothing was wrong with my feet, but my feet were clearly on fire, right? Eventually, this manifested into a physical illness. I actually had nerve damage in my feet, which I healed holistically. I made a video about that, but I'll probably keep talking about it again because it's a crazy story. But this didn't start as nerve damage. There was nothing that happened to my body specifically that gave me nerve damage. This started as a as a spiritual illness, right? That's clear cognizance when you can feel spiritual information before certain things happen to you, right? So you see how I got the feeling of my feet being on fire first, and then in the physical, it manifested as nerve damage in my feet. When I went to the doctor originally, they told me nothing was wrong, but when I went back, they said I had nerve damage. So this is how it is with clear cognizance. You get the feeling before it actually happens, right? I feel like a lot of star seeds develop that ability to perceive danger. Exactly. That's the main way I use it to perceive danger. And this is actually one of the ones. If you were ever uh questioning if animals have these clear abilities too, they do. A lot of them do. Some of them use primarily their instincts, but a lot of them actually do have these spiritual abilities. You gotta end the Discord live. Oh, my bad. I got you, bro. All right, my apologies. Did our souls live past lives, or do we just incarnate as new souls? We recycle the same soul. Um, you can. I've never heard of anybody getting a new soul, but technically, you do. You're able to get a new soul, but you have to do it in a specific way. Like if you can tap into the intelligence of your spirit, your greater spirit, you can kind of transport your energy back to there and then redeploy as a different spirit. But you can't just hop from this spirit to another. I mean, hop from this soul to another soul to another soul to another soul. You can't just do that. You have to go to your higher self first and then redeploy as a different soul. But for the most part, we recycle the same soul over and over again. The process of evolving your consciousness and what they call enlightenment or spiritual evolution is the process of going back to your higher self, then getting a new soul, deploying as a new soul, then evolving back to your higher self and then deploying as a new soul. That's actually very integral to that process. Hopefully that answers your question. um you have so many questions. That's what's up. I love answering. But back to what we were saying, we were talking about clear abilities. We had clear cognizance, right? The ability to feel spiritual information, um, usually ahead of time. We kind of wrapped up that one, but to wrap it up even further, this ability can become dangerous when, well, I don't want to say becomes dangerous. It can become difficult to deal with because physically feeling things that are happening spiritually, or even the other way around, spiritually feeling things that are happening physically can take a great toll on your spirit. It can take a great toll on your body, your vessel, your soul. And a lot of times it taps into, different past life trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like I had when I went through my experience with my feet, that was definitely a past life traumatic thing. It didn't just pop out spontaneously. It was a spiritual illness that I've, previously dealt with, and then I get rid of it, and then it comes back, and then I get rid of it, and that helps me grow. Like it's a part of my journey. It always comes to challenge me. You know what I'm saying? But then I always grow out of it. And that's the downside of clear cognizance. It can be a strong toll on your spirit. But back to let's go to precognition. That's another clear ability that doesn't get a lot of recognition like that because it doesn't have the words clear in front of it. But precognition is when you can see the future. This one is honestly one of the worst abilities to have, in my opinion, simply because if you truly awaken that gift and you're not able to ground yourself, you're always going to be perceiving futures that aren't going to even manifest. Like 99.999% of all timelines don't even manifest. Maybe a few of them manifest, but they all condense into one strong timeline that actually manifests into the physical world. If you want to timeline switch to another timeline at the highest levels, eventually you would become an astral or a non-physical entity. You would raise your frequency outside of the collective universal timeline, and you would go live in a specific time that is away from the mainstream or the main timeline of the physical universe, right? My bad. But yeah, that's if you want to shift your timeline so drastically, right? But on a base level, most people are not even able to do that. But when it comes to precognition, even if you're not able to flip your timeline like that, you're still going to be able to see those crazy timelines. So a lot of people who have quantum leap, a lot of people who have precognition, they see a lot of catastrophic futures. They see a lot of bullshit, to be honest, and a lot of it is not even going to manifest. Most of it does not manifest, y'all. Um, and that's the hard thing about precognition. Now, at the more basic levels of precognition, when you can control it, like me, I have precognition, but it always comes in a very orderly manner. So it's been times when, like, what's one time I had my precognition? One time, I have a video about this on YouTube. One time in the astral realm, my entire neighborhood got raided by some reptilians and by some the agents. You know what I'm saying? The Men in Black agents, different astral entities. They were just preying on me at the time. And they did that in my house in the astral. They raided my neighborhood, they raided my house and killed my whole family in the astral plane. Literally the next week, my entire neighborhood's plumbing got fucked up. Like there was water rising from my floorboards. That's how bad that experience was, and I perceived it before it even happened in the physical. That was my first like really strong precognition experience. Um After that, another precognition experience I had that was more grounded was I went I was in the astral, and somebody did something to my car. He might have stole it or something. My car was messed up in some way in the astral, right? And there was a dude who was responsible. When I found out that he did that to my car, I got super emotional and I started to manifest all these negative emotions, right? That was in the astral though. When I woke up that same day to go to work, my car wouldn't start. And this is kind of double-sided. And one side, I charged that event with negative emotions, so it manifested into the physical world as my car not being able to start. And on the other side, I literally perceived my car not being able to start before it even happened in the astral, right? So precognition, being able to see things before they happen. Um, that's a good one to have if you can control it and you can stay grounded in the physical. But if you're not grounded, you're just going to see a bunch of different timelines that aren't even going to manifest. And, you know, or you're going to see some crazy timelines and think that that's what has to happen. And you're going to manifest that timeline for yourself. You don't even need to do that. So that was precognition. What else? What is another spiritual ability? Astral projection. Let's talk about the downsides of astral projection. um, Astral projection is actually a really good ability. It's probably the best ability out of all of them because they force you to use all of your other abilities just in the astral. You won't use them physically. So if you astral project, you can learn how to become more sensitive to your other clear senses. Astral projection can get shaky though when you don't know where you're at. A lot of times when we're astral projecting, we're literally just out into the cosmos. We're out in the spiritual plane. Sometimes we're in the the mental layer of the astral plane, or we're in the 6D. Or we can sometimes some of us even go higher than that. But when you get there, it's harder to bring those memories back into the physical. But regardless, either way, you're gonna be in some layer of the astral plane. And it gets difficult because anything is possible in the astral plane. You may see Looney Tunes world in the astral plane. You may transport yourself to Naruto in the astral plane. You may transport yourself into 2K16 in the astral plane. But at the end of the day, it's just the astral. It's not necessarily reality. It's a reality, but it's not the reality, right? It's just a realm of possibility and a realm of information that can be manifested into the physical world. So when we astral project to these places, a lot of times we can get lost in the sauce. This is one of the main reasons why I don't astral project like that. My guides kind of restrict me a little bit, and they only allow me to astral project when I'm like on business. Like if I'm on a mission, I'll astral project, or if there's something important I need to do, they'll lift me out of my body without me having to try to astral project. Right? That is one of the hardest parts about astral projection, not being able to stay grounded and going anywhere. You can kind of get lost in the astrals and not really find your way back to your body until it's too late. Sometimes we just kind of go mindless in the astral, and that's not what you want to do. You know about SR? What is SR? Semen retention? I have a lot of videos on semen retention if that's what you're talking about. Is that what you're referring to with SR? Yes. Yeah, that's what's up. I have a lot of videos on semen retention. I just dropped a semen retention video like 5 days ago. Go look it up. It's on my page. But I know a lot about semen retention. I'm on semen retention right now. I had took a break like earlier this year. That's what I'll talk about in my video if you go watch it. I took a break because I wanted to receive different benefits from semen retention that I wasn't receiving. And I also needed a new reason to even do semen retention in the first place because I didn't have the right mentality going into it as a child. I was like 16 when I got into semen retention. And I had to reapproach that because I'm like 22 now. That was like 6 years ago, So I had to reapproach why I'm even on semen retention. So now I'm back, you know what I'm saying? But go watch that video. It's a really good video. I just uploaded it like 5 days ago or something. We'll do watch your 110 Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. You're 100 out of 10 viewer. And I hope you actually take this knowledge and apply it. You know what I'm saying? It's super important. But that was it for spiritual abilities pretty much. We went over the main ones. Next, I want to talk about communication with spirit guides. It's super important to communicate with your spirit guides. Have any of y'all communicated with your spirit guides yet? Have any of y'all? If you're not consciously communicating with your spirit guides, they're around you. Trust me. Um, Usually they'll make themselves known to you when you're ready. Said I always wondered how to. Yeah, usually they'll make themselves known to you when you're ready. But if you're not ready, they'll kind of just stay in the cut and watch you. They'll help you grow. But everyone's different. For me, I kind of was forced into it. Like I was initiated, right? Not everybody gets initiated to spirit guide communication because once you do get initiated, you have actual responsibility. So I don't just talk to my spirit guides and be like, oh hey, what's up, spirit guide, or hey, what's up, ancestor? How you doing today? Like usually it's on strict business. When they talking right now, they're like, yeah. When I communicate with my spirit guides, it's transaction. So they do things for me and I do things for them because I'm initiated in their order, right? But if you just want to make basic communication with your spirit guides, you can do different practices. Like, so I talk to myself because I know my higher self is inside of me, and that's the main higher self. That's the main spirit guide you'll ever have is your higher self. That's a great place to start. That's where I started as well, and then it evolved into me talking to other different beings, which is really cool. But it can be daunting, and here's what I mean: if you are not staying grounded and you are not on your spiritual journey, your spirit guides have a choice. Your spirit guides can honestly leave you. A lot of people don't know about that, but your spirit guides don't have to stay around you. Usually there's going to be like one or two spirit guides who stays around you no matter what, but staying around is relative to them because a lot of them are omnipresent and they can be at many places at once. So they'll like keep a ward around you while they actually go out and do other things. That's not what we want. We want our spirit guides when we communicate with them and we have them in our lives. We want them to be active and proactive on helping us achieve our goals, get closer to our higher self. We want their assistance, right? That's the whole point of having spirit guides so that we can achieve higher consciousness. Again, that's the whole reason why spirit guides were even deployed in the first place, to make sure that when we manifest into the lower planes of existence, we can rise back, right? So they help us keep the cycle of spiritual awakening and spiritual dissension going, right? They maintain that whole cycle. Now, it can get kind of interesting with the spirit guides because not all of them are as nice as you may think. When we think of spirit guides, we think of these angels who are super benevolent, super loving, open arms, but not all spirit guides are like that. It depends what beings you're talking to. Some beings are quite rude. Some beings are, very pragmatic, or they're very, stickler. Some beings are kind of, how do I explain it? I'm trying to explain it without mocking them or making a false judgment about them. But spirit guides don't always have to be nice. I experienced that myself. I have certain Anunnaki spirit guides who are super rough. You know what I'm saying? They're super motivated and they have a very fiery energy. Sometimes they'll just tell it to me how it is, and I may not like how they say it, but that's real. You know what I'm saying? Not all beings who are spirits or ETs, angelic beings, especially angelic beings, not all of these beings are gonna just treat you like, they're not gonna coddle you. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that I didn't understand when I first got into spirit guide communication. I thought it was just all peaches and cream and fun and games. Like, nah, these beings are on business and they respect their time. If you're not being proactive on your spiritual journey, your spirit guides will literally just leave a ward around you to protect you, and they'll go about their business because they want to engage with beings who are actually for the cause and proactive on their mission, right? Yes, I understand. That's what's up. Hopefully you understand. But if, like I said, if you just want to make basic spirit guide communication, I would write a letter to them or like write notes to them, talk to them out loud every day. You know what I'm saying? Just say whatever random thing. It could be ancestors too, ETs, whatever you feel called to, or whoever you sense is around you. You can also draw pictures. Keep a manifestation journal. Do like little things like that. It's gonna help you tap in with the energy of your spirit guides. I think my spirit guide is raw, yes, and the respect there, yeah, for sure. My spirit guides are super raw. They don't play. I be playing. I'm not gonna lie. I need to stop playing with them. I've been chastised by spirit guides a few times because they don't they don't they're not for the bullshit, to say it simply. I'm not even gonna try and overcomplicate that. Um, what else did I want to talk about? If y'all have any questions, we're gonna dedicate this time to questions. Yeah, I'm filming something right now. I'm filming something. My bad, y'all. Um, like I said, if y'all have any questions or anything, we're gonna dedicate this time to questions, and then we're gonna get up off here. We've been on here for an hour and 11 minutes, 111 on the clock. So yeah, we're gonna make this time for questions. I'm live. Yeah, what's up with y'all? 111, 111 on the clock. I love to see it. And I'm sorry that the screen is glitching, bro. Like, I don't know what that's about. That's so weird. I'm gonna have to figure that out in my free time. But if y'all don't have any questions, I might get off here. I felt like I manifested talking to someone like-minded. Through me or somebody else. If you manifested talking to somebody like-minded with me, you probably did. I also manifested learning more about myself. That's good. You're young, bro. You're 17. You got the whole world ahead of you, bro. Like, everything is gonna pan out for you. Just make sure you do what I said, bro. When you get to the NBA, don't be fucking off all these girls. Don't get hooked into their culture. A lot of these NBA people, they sleep around and they live that fast life. Don't get into that, bro. You're a master builder. Your journey does not end at the NBA. Your energy goes beyond. You know what I'm saying? You're probably supposed to start some business or something like that. And the NBA is just gonna be a launch pad for you. So, really lock in. Simply. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But that's it for today, man. I appreciate y'all for showing up. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Make sure y'all like and subscribe, like the stream, and I'm gonna be on here probably next Friday. So thank y'all for popping out. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Peace.